there's that difference between African and African American. So being that you went back and people treated you different, and when Africans come here, African Americans treat them different. As somebody who's experienced both worlds, is there a bridge? Can we bridge this this gap? Because I feel there's a gap right there. Can we bridge it together? How can we do that?
Yeah, which is why I'm assuming this is why the podcast is called Stuck in the Middle.
Definitely.
Because there's a chasm. I think so. I guess that's something. I think my parents. I don't know if they're unique in this way. I don't want to make it seem like we're like, oh, we're some exceptional Africans. I don't know, but my parents, they never raised me and my sisters to see ourselves as different from African Americans. So I never did. They always refer to African Americans as our cousins, which is true. I mean, there are family members that were in the slave trade. So, I mean, they didn't come from a foreign planet. They came from a land, from a people, a culture, a heritage, and so they always made that connection for us. So it's not something I just never really saw Africans and African Americans differently, to be quite honest. Just figure we all black and we got to get it together because we're living in a racist society. But that's just kind of how I always thought about it. But yes, there is a chasm. Can we be united and come together? I think so. I think that part of the issue is that I think we have all of us on both sides have a very narrow understanding of blackness. And if you don't fit into how I understand blackness, then you are not this and you are not that. I know I've experienced that quite a bit, where it's like, but actually a lot of the stuff that I've gotten is actually from Africans, to be honest. I've not been always accepted by other Africans, but I've always been accepted by black people. And I'm sure people have, a completely opposite experience.
Right. Definitely.
So, I mean, I think we have to broaden our understanding of blackness. I think we need to also accept the history of people in the diaspora too, that we're all in different places because we're either on the backside of slavery and colonialism, or we're on the front end, and so we're all our stories are going to look differently. But I think that if we can lay hold of the fact of what the oppression that actually unites us, I think that we can overcome. No, I just did not experience that. Now that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. I know, I know that there's tensions, within the diaspora. And it goes both ways, right? Yeah. So, Africans come and they're like, well, why can't y'all get their stuff together? But it's like, okay, but you don't have an understanding of systemic racism yet because you have not known yourself to be black because you haven't been in a racialized society. You grew up in Cameroon, you grew up in Nigeria, you grew up in Ghana. There was no blackness, it was your tribe, where you're from, which we know about tribalism. So I think there's a learning curve for Africans when they come here. And I think sometimes we can come over with a bit of an entitlement, not understanding all the gains and the civil rights gains that happen is actually what Africans are now capitalizing on, particularly when it comes to affirmative action. And you see it right now, in the Ivy Leagues particularly. They're taking in African students more than they are taking in African American students, which is a problem. So I don't know, we gotta figure, there's a lot to figure out.